Bro, this intro just hits so hard. I can't stop. Like,
it's just very enlightening.
Isn't it? It's just a great way to start the pod. So with that being said, welcome into the Blitz Breakdown, presented by Blitzalytics.com, where scouting meets analytics and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. I'm Jack Bourgeois. That is Mr. Ashton Moore.
What's good?
What's going on, my dude?
I'm swell.
I can hear us talking, so I think I gotta mute something.
Tell me when it's okay to talk again.
Oh, you're good. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah,
technology.
we were live. We were live on here. All right. So, there's my.
What's up, live fam?
We'll be good at our jobs one day, dude. I swear.
Yeah.
Oh man. But until then, at least we got some comedic humor to the show.
Let's get it.
But yeah, so let's get it, man. It's week. I want to call it week 3 preseason, but technically it's only week 2 because, you know.
They all blend together. They're just different days that I hope I don't see any injuries of any of my fantasy players or favorite players. It's just Groundhog Day of that. And then every now and then you get some scrimmages essentially that don't have any genuine meaning or like depth chart relevance.
Yeah.
But hey, we're here and football is amongst us and we get to talk about it. Yay.
Yeah. I mean, everything from fantasy football to camp fights. I mean, we've got lots to cover. I know that wasn't on the
Antonio Brown,
bro,
connected
with the left.
Ronald Odor,
dude.
Jose Bautista,
I don't know.
That was.
I don't know if I've ever seen such a connection in my life on the football field. Like.
On football, I'm telling you, that was an Odor shot. Like there's something about left hooks that when they connect, it's like, damn, like,
bro,
that's
he came.
a good
I mean,
shot.
perfect form and everything. I mean, just with the hips. I mean, oh man,
instantly went up like 8 slots in my wide receiver rankings after that. I was like, oh, he's on.
He's already pretty high on your wide receiver rankings too, which we will get into.
Oh man, but, he just keeps climbing. And I'm happy to have shares of him. That's for sure.
Oh, so you do. So you already got him in some fantasy leagues or what?
I have gotten the 2 most important or the 2 biggest leagues to me out of the way, which were keeper league and then a half PPR. A dynasty and a half PPR keeper league. And those were kind of the ones I was trying to like stay low key about who I liked within the Twitters and just overall pod sphere. But no, your boy is out. I'm ready to go. I got 3 other ones coming up. I don't really want to do 5 leagues. Usually like 4 is my sweet spot, but we're doing 5 this year. So yeah. But I'm not scared of those people. So I hope you're listening and hey, get some cheat sheets on me. I'll be splurging out different options or at least guys that I have my eyes on. It's been cool. I mean, football's here. What can you not be happy about?
You know, I can't act like I'm not somewhat bitter that the fact that I haven't won my own league, like my personal league that we've been doing since I was like 13 years old. So do the math. That's like 18 years, something like that. It's been a while. But since we've started Blitz, like my fantasy rankings have been public knowledge. It's kind of hard to beat that. And then
you're exposing yourself.
Rodney number 1, if you're listening, you know what? Because every year, it drives me crazy. One of my best friends, somebody that like is as into fantasy, he's more into fantasy football, I think, than I am. And oddly enough, his league, the draft in his league, which we call the minors out of spite, like my league is the majors, his league is the minors, and so it's definitely just like talk shit. But his team, oddly enough, they always draft after our league, and his team, oddly enough, always looks like my team in the other league. It's crazy, and he'll win with that team too. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It kind of I'm bitter about it every year. But it's funny how that worked out again this year.
Maybe you need to go
Rodney.
back down to the minors. Maybe you need to go back down to the minors for a little bit.
Oh no, we play.
Get your swing underneath you.
Yeah, we play them both. But it's a good league. It's a good fun. Both leagues are competitive. I did win I won one of the leagues, but I haven't won my league in God knows how long. Like it's getting kind of embarrassing. So I got to get my stuff together. So I'm going to pick your brain a little bit today because I haven't got to study and focus on fantasy as much as I like. I have some of my favorite players. I know who's going to be good, but I have not made that deep fantasy dive just yet into the rankings. So I started it last night, and then once you start that rabbit hole, you're like, oh God, no, I need to dedicate time to this. Like I need hours. I don't need like to start this at 11:30 at midnight. Like I need to get going. So I went to bed, but this next couple of days, the fantasy rankings will be up and out, and Blitzalytics will have a new fantasy page for all of you guys. So stay tuned for that. But before we do, we got to talk. We got to talk some football. We got to talk the NFL preseason week 2, not week 3. Some standout performances, some lackluster performances. That's for sure. People talking trash on your Patty Mahomes. Chris Sims, it was one of them this week. I don't know if you heard saying how much he came out and just kind of didn't look like himself, but he did kind of look a little. I mean, it wasn't anything exciting. But again, I think that a lot of that has to do with play calling. But I mean, he did throw an interception. It wasn't like
Which should have been thrown away.
Yeah, that one was questionable. So there's a couple throws that got away from him. But they brought up the ankle. They brought up the toe. They brought up like, is this lingering? Do you think this could be a lingering issue? Like, could Patty have that come back down to normalcy that you're expecting from Josh Allen this year? I mean, I don't think so, but like, are you semi-nervous about that at all?
I guess my follow-up to that would be like, what does that projection look like? Like, what does normalcy for Patrick Mahomes look like? Like, I wouldn't be surprised at like a 35-10 season being his like.
That's that Aaron Rodgers quote. My down years are still career years for most quarterbacks.
Right.
Like one of the harshest statements ever made.
And I wouldn't say if there is any statistical, like, I don't know, just fall. It wouldn't be due to, like, Patrick Mahomes is just getting figured out or, like, he's just really lingering from that toe injury. It's going to be more so that they're just downshifting in the offense and letting Clyde get the ball more, or they're just going to be more just run out the clock because people haven't really started to notice what the defense is starting to look like because the Chiefs' defense it's looking nice. And yes, it is only preseason, but Chris Jones is probably going to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's playing both edge and interior rusher. Like, he's looking nasty.
He added some names to the list this past weekend. Like, he bodied whoever that was playing guard up against him for Arizona did not stand a fucking chance.
Dude, yeah, gave Trey Lance a real quick how do you do, like, welcome to the NFL.
Yeah.
And he's doing nasty things. Juan Thornhill had a crazy diving interception.
That was
like,
nice.
Okay, great.
That was like, hey, I seen that in scouting. It finally showed up.
Right.
Like,
so he was doing that rookie year, but then he tore his ACL week 17, and it's his first year, I believe. And now last year was all pretty much recovery, but he's looking nice coming back into it. Willie Gay was probably the most impressive player in camp before he went down with a concussion. Now they're starting to work him back slowly. I say all that to say, Chris Sims, you're just doing your job here, stirring up headlines. But if there is a statistical downfall, it will be because the Chiefs are just an overall better team and won't require Mahomes to be an air raid or high scoring quarterback.
Yeah. I have a soft spot because Chris Sims gave his spleen for my team. So, I don't shit on him as much as everybody else does. But he did have a good stat. It was somebody with CBS. You know, John Harbaugh is 19-0 with the Ravens in preseason.
I saw that stat and I was just blown away by it. But I haven't done any backup myself.
Like, right? Is that an impressive stat? Like, I feel like that's kind of impressive from a coaching standpoint. But again, like, Harbaugh always has his guys ready to play. Like, the Ravens never don't show up for a game.
They're good.
Like, it's never that they lose, like they're not mentally prepared for a game. They just downright get beat sometimes, and it's more like scheme or system. Like, like they get beat by the teams that can outgun them and put them behind, in a quick situation. So,
yeah, does he just really give more part? Like, I would like to see the numbers on, is he just playing higher depth player, like
does he
second
play the
string and third
starters longer,
stringers?
or I don't know, but
I haven't
still.
seen any Lamar Jackson, so I'd say no. And the little I've seen of J.K. Dobbins they're just not doing what they usually do.
I honestly haven't seen much Ravens preseason, and because I haven't seen a whole
lot. Gus Edwards had a decent little run this past weekend, but besides that, that's what I'm saying. Like they don't really. Yeah. Well, he's a special teams coach. Maybe they're just kicking a lot of field goals and scoring consistently. I don't know. But yes, that was a pretty crazy stat.
It's probably the truth. It's probably because they've had Justin Tucker just kicking field goals in the preseason for the last 5 years, and that's how they win.
Potentially. He's probably preseason stats. Wow. No. That's when you know you're really down bad.
Nah, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm not looking up I'll look up I'll see what I'll look at like the completion percentage for the quarterbacks and some of the stats, but
of course,
I'm not going too in depth.
Metrics.
I mean, I would say in terms of like Trey Lance has looked good. He's looked shaky. To me, he is going to be one of those quarterbacks that's going to be that Lamar Jackson, the Josh Allen. Like, it's going to take years for that accuracy to get to the level it needs to be. And that's going to be the telltale sign of his success, is if he can actually improve the accuracy, which is the hardest thing to do in the NFL. You don't go from an inaccurate quarterback like Josh Allen was to an accurate quarterback like Josh Allen is. Like, that almost never happens. It hasn't happened for Lamar Jackson. It hasn't happened for a lot of the guys, like Jameis, like threw interceptions in college. He's still throwing interceptions now. Sam Darnold throwing interceptions then, still throwing interceptions now. Those are like really hard tendencies to break and really hard. I think Lance's biggest thing is that he's just been rocketing the ball every throw. But then again, this is only his like second week of practice, right? Like, he had 3 days
and he didn't play much last year.
Yeah, he didn't play it all last year. He had one game. I mean, basically didn't play it all last year. I mean, he's basically hasn't played football in over a year and a half. So he's got.
He's got a lot of work to catch up on to be an NFL quarterback.
But even then, you see it. You see some of those throws. You see those deep balls. You see some of that stuff that's like mid to deep.
It's exciting.
It is. It gets Niners fans very excited for the future.
Sure. But you have to trust the decision makers that got you to this point and recognize that they see the value in letting Jimmy G be the guy this whole year and let Trey Lance learn how to not only be a quarterback, but an NFL quarterback and know how to run an NFL offense. And I don't like always using this, but it's really similar to like the Alex Smith and Mahomes situation a few years ago with Kansas City, when Alex Smith was the incumbent starter with the intent, when everyone knew that it was Mahomes' job for the future. They just wanted to give him time to adjust to the speed, learn the system, and just, again, learn how to be a quarterback at the NFL level with someone up there that can provide an example and show you how the offense is run correctly and kind of pick up on little patterns and habits that make him successful. I mean, say what you want about the guy, but he was a very highly talented asset for a minute, and he made it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he didn't do much once he got there, and he may have made some decisive plays.
Had a 10-point lead going to the fourth quarter. So,
hey, so did Deshaun and so did Tannehill. It's fine.
I know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, like, I know that speaks more so, I think, on Patrick Mahomes. And, like, you better have a hell of a lot more of a lead than 10 going into the fourth.
Yeah, because that's what limits your offense when you have a quarterback like Jimmy G. But there are strengths and benefits to having Jimmy G be your quarterback.
I mean, you see how efficient that offense runs. Like, he may not be the gunslinger or that, like, 350-yard, 4-touchdown quarterback. He'll never be that. But he can run that offense probably better than anybody in the NFL as of this point right now. Now, what is that offense going to look like when sooner or later I think Trey Lance will eventually step in? Either Jimmy gets hurt or they slowly transition. I mean, if Jimmy's killing it and it's week 9 or 10, they're number one in the division, like they're rolling into the playoffs, no problem. Yeah, you stick with it.
And you give Lance some specific plays.
Exactly, give him some specific plays. But if he pops off and is like a completely different, again, once they give him that offense, and that offense is going to be tailored towards our mobile running quarterback, because that's what Kyle Shanahan's going to have fun doing, and they haven't shown it at all yet. Like, he hasn't ran the ball one time yet. He's scrambled, but he hasn't ran the ball. And so I think they're saving all of that. And as soon as they unleash it, it's going to be all she wrote, because nobody's going to know how to stop it. That's why I think that it's...
So what's the rush?
Exactly. There is no rush. But I'm just saying, teams should be getting excited.
Oh, yeah. It's incredibly exciting. It's as exciting as a top 3 pick can be, really. You just got to be patient, and you got to wait it out. Just because the 2 picks in front of him are going to be starting week 1 doesn't mean that that's the right way to handle this situation, especially with someone that's as inexperienced as he is. And once that can of worms is open, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaotic. But you can't do that unless you're ready to let Jimmy G not ever have that job back.
Yeah.
And Jimmy G's right now,
I think Jimmy G will not. I highly doubt Jimmy G will lose it by his quality of play. I think Jimmy G will lose it by getting injured or getting a little bit banged up, or even possibly Jimmy G could ruin himself by putting this team up 35-0 in the first half, and then letting this boy feast in the second half, or the fourth quarter, and losing his job that way. I could see that being a play too. The Niners just happen to put Lance in, and then Lance goes off. Lance looks like a god out there. Lance looks like Patrick Mahomes 2.0, like they've been saying for 2 years now, you know?
And then, so you treat him like Patrick Mahomes and give him a year to sit and learn how to play an NFL just play an NFL snap. Know what goes into all the pre-snap aspects of it, how to run a huddle. Jimmy G is a wonderful, wonderful person to sit in front, or for him to sit behind. And he fits a lot of the same molds that Alex Smith did. Just professional, knows what he's doing, super smart, and runs the system well.
It's going to have everything to do with Kyle Shanahan's actual self-control. Because I could see think about it, dude. Oh, what was that? Not sure what that was. Jimmy is a, I have no idea what that was. It sounded like somebody's knocking. I live in the country, so ain't nobody knocking. I totally lost my train of thought. But Jimmy G is
Kyle Shanahan
Jimmy G is a nice Mercedes. He's a nice car. But when you have a Ferrari,
he might be a Lexus.
Yeah, okay, but when I'm talking about in comparison, Trey Lance, a Mercedes is a nice car. It's a good starting NFL quarterback car. But you also have Ferraris, and you have other things sitting in the garage.
And the Ferrari is stick, and the Lexus is auto. Exactly. You've never driven a stick before. This is a really nice car, but you want to make sure you know what you're doing before you let it out of the garage, or else
he drove it.
There goes all your value.
Kyle Shanahan drove stick one time, and it was an RG3, and we seen what happened with that. If RG3 could have stayed healthy that year, things might have been different.
One of the great what ifs.
Yeah, that's a heck of a what if. But some other guys, Trubisky's been looking good. Remember I said this 2 weeks ago. Is he the best backup quarterback in the NFL? And we kind of chuckled at it, but he might be. You got Mariota out there too. Mariota's a hell of a backup quarterback. Borderline starter. I think he's probably better than a handful of starting quarterbacks in the NFL. I think I would rather. You could say Mariota and Fitz would probably be a close. I don't know. I think I'd still have Fitz, but Mariota's a good backup. Let's put it that way. Trubisky is looking like a damn good quarterback. So my question to you is, don't go there with the Kyle Trask yet. I don't want.
Okay.
It's shit. Told you all you Bucs fans, that was a shit pick. I'll talk about it tomorrow on JP's show, but that was a shit pick. And they will be eating crow for it for years to come. Anyways.
So y'all are in the market for a QB2. Would you rather have Mariota, or would you rather have
QB2? We got Blaine Gabbert, son.
Oh, God. Okay, would you rather Blaine Gabbert, Marcus Mariota, or...
No, I would rather have Mariota over Blaine Gabbert any day. But, Blaine Gabbert is a solid-ass backup quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. Blaine Gabbert has stepped in and looked really good. He's very efficient in the offense. He knows it. He has time under his belt as a starting quarterback. He's won games for shitty teams. Like, he's not starting quarterback quality, but he is a damn good backup. And we've had him in the system since BA's got there. So there's no way Kyle Trask is going to be the number 2.
Okay.
Looking at it right now, because we just apparently just throwing out that Mitch Trubisky take. Look, if we're looking at it now, I don't even know if Kyle Trask can beat out Ryan Griffin for the number 3 quarterback spot.
Right.
So, waste of a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Waste. Such good players still on the board. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, cornerbacks, running back. I mean, there was so many good players. And then it's like, same thing. Jalen Darden is looking outstanding. Like, he's looking really good. So then, what wide receiver are we gonna get rid of? Like, it's so hard for the Bucs. Like, they have so much talent in some of these positional groups between tight end and wide receiver. Like, they're getting rid of starting caliber or like legit. I don't know about starting, at least role playing caliber players on other teams that are going to be sitting in the 5, 6, and 7 spot as like wide receivers. I don't know how.
You want to play with Brady?
Huh?
They want to play with Brady.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking about you have like in the fourth quarter last night in their last game, like Scottie Miller, who's a starting wide receiver on a lot of teams, is in there playing like at the end of the fourth quarter because that's like our number 7 wide receiver right now, or he's in that like third group. Like, our starters are our backups are better than a lot of starters for the Bucs, and so I don't know how they're going to keep all of that. That really bugs me.
Well, you're not. You're going for the Super Bowl now, so you're just loading up and worrying about the post-Brady years
I know.
when that happens. Just enjoy the ride is what that means.
Hopefully they can do some wheeling and dealing instead of having to just cut such good players. That's what I'm hoping. Tanner Hudson, Austin Lord. There's a couple guys like some of our tight ends literally would be starting caliber tight ends on other teams, and these guys are like making our hopefully we'll be able to put them on our practice squad. But I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, cut days is when's. Do you know when cut day is?
We dropped 10 guys yesterday. But yeah, I know cut day is coming up this I think they all have to get to 80 and then 80 down they get to 80 by week the third game, and then from the third game to the first they have to get all the way down to the what is it? It was 53. What is it now? I forget what it is.
53, but they expanded the practice squad.
That's what it is.
You can get like 10 practice squad players now.
Yeah, and then there's more. You can have more people. You can have more inactives, I think.
Yeah. And then you can bring them back.
You can have more players active than before.
And you can bring players off of the injured reserve list, which will help just overall season long lineups. But I don't want to completely shoo away your Mitchell Trubisky take, because all I'm going to say off of that is that it's just more evidence that goes to show this is a Brian Dable creation than a Josh Allen emergence. He is making it easy for his quarterbacks to succeed, and they are. And I think he falls back to earth because teams will start to find the tendencies and where that scheme falls short. Or he's the greatest mastermind the NFL's ever seen, and he created an all-time great prospect.
I mean, we're looking at the same system. So, like, how many years can this system work for quarterbacks, like dating back to pre-Josh Allen? Pre-Josh Allen was like Tyrod Taylor's best year.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's worked for every quarterback so far. So how have teams? I mean, if you're in a Bill Belichick division and Bill Belichick can't figure it out,
I think he will this year. He's got his horses back. He's got his dogs. They were all gone last year.
They're looking good. See. What do you think about the whole Cam Newton?
Buffalo Bills shame parade.
What do you think about the Cam Newton miss? Oh, is that what you're wearing right now? You're wearing a Cam Newton jersey? Oh, damn.
Oh, it's solidarity. Oh, man. Let's go. Yo, he is getting completely screwed right now is what's happening. God, he's playing by their rules. He's being screwed by their rules. But it's all Belichick, man. This is right up his alley. He's been doing this his entire career. He just wants Mac Jones to play, and Cam Newton's playing too well to just let him have it. So they have to invoke a COVID policy violation.
You think that's what what it was?
I'm not putting it past them.
Evil genius masterminding by Bill Belichick to be like, all right, if we can just give him a few more days without Cam Newton, he could overtake him.
He just knows every loophole there is to know about the game of football. I don't see how this would have happened otherwise. Like, how did this be the thing that they slipped up on? But the policy in itself doesn't make sense. You have he got in trouble because he went to an approved team facility for his testing, and now he has to wait 5 days, even though every test hasn't been positive. So now you just gotta wait because of cadence procedure, I think is what they called it. But I feel you, Cam. Don't let him get you down, dog.
Yeah.
He's still gonna be having his plays. He's still a top goal line back in the league, and he's still gonna get his snaps, regardless of what happens.
Yeah. He's still going to be the week 1 starter. That's going to happen. But I do think, if you looked at Mac Jones, they both played so damn good this last weekend. Like, it was.
I still don't have any confidence in any Patriots fantasy player. Like, I don't want to get one.
Oh, God, no. Have you seen the running back room? Jesus. Every one of those guys looks like a stud this preseason. Every one of them. So you can't take any of them.
They out here playing. They out here performing.
Too stacked. Damian Harris was like what? Towards the end of the year was a top 10, top 15 option. Now, I would know who to take in that backfield.
He's actually on my miss list.
Yeah.
The one miss me in fantasy. Don't want him. Yeah. Don't think that I don't see the ceiling. I don't see what best case scenario Damian Harris is with. We're talking about 4 other options at this point in their backfield that are making legitimate quality snaps. And Cam Newton, like I said, is one of the best short running options in the league. He's going to vulture some goal line carries. There goes some touchdown variants. And then now Stevenson is starting the ball a little bit. Ramondre Stevenson, who's a rookie, he's starting to deserve more snaps. Sony Michel's healthy for the first time in years, so we'll see if he has any gas in there or what he actually brings to the table at this point. James White takes all of his receiving options. Like, I don't have intrigue with Damian Harris this year, but I heard him just yesterday. He was like on somebody on the radio sleeper list. I was like, I don't get it. Like, who is still excited about Damian Harris's prospects? But apparently they're still out there, and for that reason, he's on my miss list.
Bro, guess who we got in the comment section right now?
Who we got?
Rob.
What's good, Rob?
What's good, my dude? I miss you.
Dude.
Thank you for the dope ass intro music. So you guys know that was our man, Mr. Robert Robertson, aka Rob, aka Rob Graphics.
OG himself.
Yes, one of the OGs of Blitz. Hope you're doing well, man. I fucking miss you. But yeah, so let's see if he throws. He says, "What'd it do?" All right, let's see. Let's see if he can throw us some fancy questions, brother. Hit us with it. Dude. But yes,
like Darrell Henderson, he's.
Oh,
yeah,
got
I'm just trying to think of Rams
right?
now.
Oh, got a skyrocket.
Yeah.
That one, I feel like there's still somebody that the Rams are going to go get. But yeah, Darrell Henderson is definitely going to go up. And then I also think all of the receiving threats even go up a little bit more, because that means that they aren't going to be as run heavy. I think by a few percentages, I think you're going to have to cut it back now, not having that star running back. I'm sure they're still going to be run heavy. Every McVay offense is.
Yeah.
But I don't think Darrell Henderson's a 3-down back. I don't think he's a workhorse. So, there's got to be another guy in that mix. And I don't know if he's on the roster yet. Rob, if you guys have somebody, let us know, man. He's saying
Todd Gurley.
Trade
coming back.
Van Jefferson second half of the season. Oh, I could definitely see Van Jefferson coming up and having some fantasy relevance this season. Hey man, he looks so good in Mobile that one year. We've been on Van, and Van looked good towards the last part of the season too. But again, have Cooper Kupp.
You could run a route.
You're gonna have Cooper Kupp, and you're gonna have Robert Woods, and I think you're gonna have Darrell Henderson, and it's gonna be everybody else. But I will say this: I've been on that Matt Stafford back end of the draft train for God knows how long. Like Matt Stafford 10 years ago has won me some fantasy leagues or however long it was. But like he was always that sleeper because they threw so much. I think they're going to have to rely on Stafford. You don't go get a Matt Stafford and then still completely stick with the run game. Obviously, again, staple of the offense, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by that offense, and specifically Stafford. And I kind of have him, like that round 10 to 12 range. But like, would you go Stafford or Brady?
Oh, Brady.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you go Stafford or Tannehill?
Tannehill. I mean, and then like it gets down to like you go Stafford if you're the last one to draft a quarterback, and then you go like Stafford and Jalen Hurts, or you like you have to go grab like two quarterbacks at that point. So I don't know if it's necessarily worth it, but I do think that his fantasy relevancy has never been higher. But also,
for sure,
there's so many. It's such a saturated QB market in terms of fantasy this year. I could definitely see Stafford's gonna have a better year, but I don't know if it'll be top 10. But I mean, there's like 15 guys that are gonna be within a few points of each other, inside in that range. So
you say all that to say don't draft quarterback high.
Yeah, don't ever draft quarterback high. What are you thinking?
I think I want Patrick Mahomes on my team, but I feel you.
You have to draft him in the second or third round, though. I mean.
Are
you willing to do that?
He's on my dynasty league, but I would not touch him in redraft league. The price is just too high. It's a shame. And again, I think the team in itself is going to be better overall, which leads to less points per game. Because Andy Reid, for whatever reason, likes to downshift whenever he has a satisfactory lead. Hence why they didn't beat anybody by more than one score last year. But that's besides the case. Back to the quarterbacks discussion. I wouldn't go high on quarterbacks just because of the amount in there. And imagine, we haven't even really thought about what Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to produce this year in that type of offense, or how much Zach Wilson's going to be throwing the ball this year. And it looks like he's got some playmakers, or at least Corey Davis looks pretty nice. And we'll see what Elijah Moore brings to the table once he is able to play a game. But yeah, I would rather, just load up on running backs and wide receivers in the first few rounds, and see who falls to you in quarterbacks, because Justin Fields is probably going to be available towards the end, and it's looking more and more like he's going to start double-digit games.
Eventually start. Like, there's a lot of. Is there any rookie quarterbacks you would target in that late? Like, are you taking a flyer? If you have to get a late round quarterback, you typically grab two quarterbacks then?
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on who you're getting.
Or you get
late,
a high ceiling mid-round guy. Like, if someone drops, you're like, oh, I can't let that go. Like Dak drops, or
that's the thing. Looking at the quarterbacks right now. Like, literally, from our current list as it sits, you got Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Jackson, Murray, Prescott, Rodgers, Herbert, Wilson, Brady, Tannehill. If you're in a 10-team league, those are 10 quality starting quarterbacks. You don't need to worry about anything else. Unless you're in one of those dumb leagues where they're drafting two quarterbacks, right off the bat, then you've already got that league wrapped up anyways, so it doesn't even matter. If you're listening to us and you can't win a league like that, you got a problem. But again though, I look at guys like, oh God, look, that's crazy how low nobody even wants to mess with Deshaun Watson this year. But those are gonna be you take a flyer on a couple quarterbacks. I would definitely take a flyer on Jalen Hurts. When he got I think he averaged 23 or 24 points in fantasy because he's running. Typically the top quarterbacks are always going to have rushing yards added to their name. It happens every year. If you look at it, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Murray, Prescott, and even Rodgers, all of those guys are going to be going for rushing touchdowns. Like, Rodgers less now,
Herbert,
than earlier in his career, but I mean, literally, like, everybody outside the top, everybody not named Tom Brady on that is going to at least get you a couple rushing touchdowns. And hey, Brady got one last year.
And even he'll sneak one in every now and then.
Yeah, but like Prescott before the injury was averaging like 4 or 5 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the same thing, like you don't even have Cam Newton's nowhere to even be found on this list. Like, Cam Newton's way the hell down there, like 28 on our list. He could be another one, again, if he's getting those rushing yards and now has at least somewhat of an offense around him. He could be a flyer quarterback that equals those, because I remember people were taking Cam Newton those first few weeks because he had a few blow up games. I mean, it was all rushing yards and stuff, but I'm
not even mad at like really not picking anyone and then just going with like just streaming quarterbacks with like Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan's just playing matchups.
Kirk Cousins,
they can get you near 30 points.
On the outside of the top 10, you got Stafford, Burrow, Hurts, Cousins, Matt Ryan, Trevor Lawrence, Baker Mayfield, Tua, Watson, Justin Fields, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitz could easily be a starting caliber like quarterback this year with like Scary Terry and Curtis Samuels and Antonio Gibson coming out of the backfield. Like, dude, he could be. Remember what he was? Remember when he was winning games for people when he was Fitzmagic? Like, he was putting up 40 and 50 point fucking games. Like, he could do that again.
I love me some Fitzpatrick, but I'm not going to take him over a lot of these guys personally.
But when we're making the case for like
if you're doing
DFS,
if you're like streaming, right, DFS for sure.
Or if you see him going up against the 32nd ranked passing defense this year, like. Yeah. He could be. I'm just saying possibilities.
He plays them twice with the Cowboys, so he could be some DFS winners for sure.
All right. Let me see.
But real quick, in that last out of all those quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence will be a top 10 fantasy quarterback by the end of the year.
Yeah. All right. I want to know. So I know I have your personal or your positional rankings, but I don't have your actual personal rankings. I'm sure they're kind of I guess really the question I have. Is you got McCaffrey, Cooks, Kamara, Henry. Those are your top 4.
Mm-mm.
Oh no. Okay, never mind. Let me sort to yours. Those were overall. So we've got McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, Zeke. How do you have Zeke over Derrick Henry? And explain that one to me. Make sense of that. Are you just infatuated with the abs right now and the fact that he's back in shape?
Those are some great abs. So mostly that was because it's due to PPR and Henry's just overall mileage over the past 3 years, even though he's had high mileage since he was a freshman in high school.
But then he had a stretch of low mileage. His first 3 years, he had minimal carries, like very low workload for the Titans.
Overall, the dude's ran.
He's never hurt.
In a very
He's never
big
hurt
body.
though.
I've
never seen him with a
physics.
gut. I've never seen him throw a temper tantrum on the sidelines. Like, I'm shocked and appalled by that. Because for me, it goes like it's McCaffrey, Cook, and Derrick Henry, and I think all 3 of those you can't make a wrong decision. You're taking a risk with Cook because he's had injury history and throughout his career. Last year he was good. Year before that he was pretty good.
And then he had 378 carries last year. Yeah. And 19 receptions. So we're talking about a guy who got near 400 touches in 1 year, whereas the year before that, he also had 300 touches.
He's had back-to-back healthy seasons. McCaffrey has had basically he's had 1.5 bad seasons so far. Derrick Henry, no bad seasons, no games missed, like no serious injuries.
The dude's a beast.
He might have had a few games missed, but I don't think so. I don't think he's missed a single game in his NFL career.
I'm busy looking up his high school stats because they're my favorite statistics that have ever existed.
What do you have, like 5,000 yards rushing?
Oh, you haven't seen Derrick Henry's stats.
Oh, let's see it.
Oh boy, is it your lucky day. I wish I could be in your situation right now to hear the insanity that is Derrick Henry's overall stats. Okay, so I don't know how to properly discuss this. Okay, so in his 4 years, he started as a freshman, obviously, and his freshman year, he ran 313 times to the tune of 2,465 yards. That's good for 7.9 yards per carry, and he scored 26 touchdowns as a freshman. His senior year, which was by far his most dominant, he went for 462 carries.
Oh, shit.
For 4,261 yards. That's good for 9.2 yards per carry. It's almost a first down every time a handoff occurs.
Those poor kids that had to tackle Derrick Henry in high school. Oh, my Lord.
For 55 touchdowns.
Holy shit.
In 13 games.
Oh, my God.
So altogether, in his 4 years playing high school football, he played 48 games, ran the ball 1,397 times, which equated to 12,124 yards, or it had 8.7 yards per carry.
Those were like, all right, but that's not tread on the tires. Those might as well have been wind sprints for him. Imagine him. He didn't take any punishment in high school. He took zero punishment in high school. He delivered 100% of the punishment. There's no way his body is like worn out for that. Like he probably took years off kids' lives who were on the opposing team. I don't think.
And he had 153 rushing touchdowns. I think I just said that to just be able to segue into a Derrick Henry high school stats rundown, right, because we probably should do this every morning of our lives to just know that exists. But no, I feel you. And again, I'm not really like shaming the dude. He's my number 5 overall.
I know. But I'm surprised you have, because for me, I guess it does kind of cloud everything else, because for me, everybody outside of McCaffrey, Cooks, and Henry, outside of that, and I think I would probably personally put Aaron Jones at 4, simply because of you have a guaranteed like baseline production,
known quantity,
and he's never injured. Like very rarely is he ever injured. He's got a little bit more like competition in the running back room, but he's hardly ever injured. So like I think Aaron Jones is like the safest pick inside the top 10 every year, and I've grown to love him more and more and more.
He's right behind Derrick Henry for me. I agree. I think he's nasty. He just doesn't. I don't think he has a touchdown capability. Well, maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit that and put him up above him of Derrick Henry at PPR.
All right. So
and to answer your original question, Zeke, I just think the overall offense was down. He didn't score a lot at the goal line last year like he usually does, so there's a lot of touchdown regression there. I just feel good about Zeke this year, and I think he's in the right state to really go back to where he used to be, and last year was more of a outlier. But then, the next one's really what I think the big takeaway of here needs to be, and that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire being the 7th running back in the league this year, which I completely don't think that's out of the realm of possibility once you realize that they drafted him to become Brian Westbrook in this offense.
Yeah.
And they haven't had that presence since Brian Westbrook. And if you watch their preseason games this year, the Chiefs have done a lot of screens.
Yeah,
and it makes sense.
Swings, like quick passes. Mm-hmm. You know, you can see that they're trying to not change up the offense entirely, but they're trying to tweak it. They're definitely trying to tweak it from last year. I don't think the Bucs wrote the playbook by any means on how to beat them. I just think they were
make sure they're starting their 4th-string offensive line, and you have your 1st-string defensive line.
They were compromised, but again, like you said, there's facets. They haven't had production from the running back since Kareem Hunt, and you know, like you have to have that. Like they haven't been able to run the ball, you know.
And now they have an offensive line that is very catered towards it, whereas last year you had a much more agile and finesse zone-based offensive line that were probably like in the high 200s, low 300s, whereas now you got Trey Smith, who's 325, Creed Humphrey, who's 320, Orlando Brown, who's 350. like you're just seeing a lot more bulk and girth and just movers. Like they're gonna move the line of scrimmage, and that just lights me up for Clyde this year. Like I think they're going to utilize him not only better as a running back, but they're going to utilize him as the wide receiver 2 in this offense behind Tyreek, Kelsey, and everyone's saying like, who's going to take over Sammy Watkins' spot? Who's going to get his targets? I think it's going to be the running back. And I think
you're going to see more McCole Hardman though too. I mean, not that like realistically, they didn't lose much of anything because like Sammy Watkins has kind of been irrelevant. Like in this system, other than a few big games, he's basically been irrelevant. He's either been hurt and not there anyways, or he's been irrelevant. So I think you're going to have the same guys we've seen in years past that have these like big games out of nowhere. Like, but I wouldn't be chasing it. Like you're going to be chasing it like you chase like, you know, like you're gambling, like, you know, chasing the craps table or whatever it is. Like you're not going to be able to find that. You're not going to be able to hit on those on random weeks. Like, it's going to be start Kelsey. It's going to be start Hill. And I, honestly, after getting burned by Clyde Edwards-Helaire and taking him in the first round last year, I'm a little bit more hesitant this year than I have been because I need to see it. I didn't see it, and then I haven't seen anything this preseason that would make me think otherwise. I do think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a lot better than what we've seen last year. But I do think he has to kind of learn he can't thump guys like he did, you know, in the SEC.
Yeah.
Not
and he's gonna have to learn to run like Le'Veon Bell ran, where he's just very shifty, very jump cutty, but he finds the holes correctly.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing I'm taking away from the preseason, and it's not necessarily like how the offense is performing, because Andy Reid's not going to show anything in the preseason that has any semblance of what he wants to do in the regular season, especially with an offense that he kind of already knows what he can do with. I think it was more to do with just how do the linemen get out in screens? How does Clyde, like, how is his vision whenever he does get the ball? What routes can we run with McCole Hardman? I feel you, and I could understand why people would feel burned by Clyde from last year, but that just means to me that he cost less. So, I will take him at the end of the first and be happy with it. We're beginning of the second at this point.
We'll see how it goes. We've been neglecting our homeboy in the chat.
Who's that?
All right, Rob said first question. Or my question to you guys is, how does coaching or college coaching translate to fantasy football these days? Lawrence could be great, but his numbers will be on Urban. I completely agree. I mean, you've seen production in the Cliff Kingsbury system, but I mean, DeAndre Hopkins didn't have some crazy illustrious, like, outstanding breakout year last year. So I'm very, very hesitant. I don't know if I'm going to be drafting any Jacksonville players because I don't know what the system's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be that offensive system from Florida that was super run heavy. If it's going to be the wide open Urban offense, if it's going to be a combination, I don't know. But there is a lot of talent on that team. There is a lot of guys that have had fantasy relevancy. Marvin Jones is a quiet top 15, top 20 wide receiver every single year. This is probably the best quarterback he's had throwing to him, you know, especially because when he had, for the last few years, Matt Stafford's been hurt. And so I think this is going to be a good opportunity for Marvin Jones. You've got Laviska Shenault, but there's too many bodies, there's too many mouths to feed, and I don't know who's going to be the guy. So I think you wait to see, and you hopefully take those guys in week 1, week 2 off the waiver wire. Because I think Marvin Jones is not even getting drafted in some leagues. Laviska Shenault is going late, if not getting drafted. They're going in the later rounds. And so the same thing, like, who knows where, you know, like Travis Etienne and Robinson, like, I don't know. There's too many question marks for me to even want to take that risk. Like, I want nothing to do with Jacksonville this year.
I will take them all.
Yeah.
I want Trevor Lawrence. I want Shenault. I want Etienne, which actually, by the way, his name is spelled Etchen. Like, it's pronounced Etchen. It's a Louisiana like pronunciation. I saw it on a video not too long ago, which should have went more viral because we're all saying the man's name wrong, but it's whatever. I think there's a reason.
How is the whole? I don't believe that. How is the entire I think maybe his family's saying it wrong then because I could have swore. I mean, how is the NFL draft gonna be butchering like a top pick's name that bad?
I don't think it would be that uncommon when we're talking about like more unique names, but yeah, it's like super Cajun. It's like Itchin.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll send you the link. But I think Rob was talking about just specifically like players coming out of college from specific coaches' systems, like Kingsbury.
No, he's talking about the Urban Meyer system, like how a coaching system from college to pro will translate in regards to the players.
I'm all for it. I believe Urban Meyer is I don't know where I would put him specifically in the NFL ranks right now, just because we haven't seen it yet. But if I'm saying if I'm going to talk to someone about offensive football or football in general, just keep the schematics and just how you play X's and O's in a given formation, I'm going to trust Urban Meyer's just overall knowledge of how to do that and how he's always translated his offenses based on the personnel at hand makes me think he should be good to go at this level when we're talking about him getting the best quarterback prospect we've had since Andrew Luck, if not before that. His running back, who he's played with for the past 3 years, and he got him first round. And he's already got Chenault, who already kind of fit like that chess piece, Curtis Samuel, Percy Harvin, just get him the ball and let him see what he does with it. Like, he fits that mold. He has a lot of chess pieces to work with. I'm in. And I don't think the Jaguars are going to be very good on a defensive standpoint to be able to stop teams from giving them a lot of opportunities to continue to score. I'm all for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not sleeping on James Robinson. I think his price is dropping in ADPs because everyone's looking at them drafting a first round and makes them think that they're not going to use James Robinson anymore. I think they all have a piece in this offense. And with 17 games this year, you just have to have as many as you can to last and have quality snaps out of that position. So I love that you're on the other side of it because that's what makes this great. Is that you have one end of it and I have the other, but I'm investing in the Jaguars this year. I like Shark. I think he's a deep guy. But yeah.
Marvin Jones, don't know. I have no idea who Trevor Lawrence is going to fall in love with throwing the ball to. I don't know which one of those two running backs is going to get the workload. So, if you're taking it, take a late round flyer and understand that you are most likely going to be it's a crapshoot. You're taking a guess. You're taking a chance. You don't know who's going to be that top. I don't know who's going to be the number one receiver in that offense. It could be any three of those guys. I don't know who's going to be the number one running back. It could be any two of those guys. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be worth taking because look at all the running or all the quarterbacks we just named that are going to be going in front of him. Why take a quarterback? Because the top 10, the number 10 quarterback is probably going to be Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill had 40 touchdowns last year, for fuck's sakes. You're getting fantasy production no matter what out of the quarterback position. And, I think I took Tannehill last year, and then I ended up pairing Tannehill with a starting quality player who was never going to make my roster because, my roster was too stacked, And then I paired that, and then I went and got Josh Allen, And so you still can go do that, load up on all the good positions first, worry about that quarterback last. But to answer Rob's question, I don't know, and Ashton believes so yes.
So yes.
Yeah.
Do you have another question?
I don't know, he's got a couple more. He kind of threw stuff out there. Just making more comments. The irony of Julio vulturing TDs from someone, quotes Henry, hasn't escaped me. Do you think that he's going to be vulturing touchdowns from Henry, or do you think he's going to be vulturing touchdowns from A.J. Brown? I think there's just going to be more touchdowns to go around with Julio Jones in the lineup because now you can't load that box up. I think Derrick Henry is going to have an even easier time at getting to 1,000 yards simply because it's kind of Remember when look how good Zeke played when like Zeke and Cooper and Dak were all playing together at the same time. Like you can't stop Dak without leaving Cooper open. You can't leave Cooper open without, or you can't shut down Cooper over the top without opening up a run lane for Zeke. So like they go hand in hand.
Yeah, but there's only one ball, and last year they had Arthur Smith. This year they have Todd Downing. So. We'll see. We'll see how the overall scheme and philosophies change. But, yeah, I couldn't discount Julio being inserted into this. I mean, he's just always going to – like, if you're Ryan Tannehill, you're going to notice that Julio Jones is on the field. And you're going to see if he's going to be a good option on this play. Same with A.J. Brown. And it's going to be a cool offense. It's going to be I'm just not a huge Tannehill guy. I don't know what – his like absolute peak looks like, and I don't see it. I don't know. I can't get past that mental barrier when it comes to Tannehill for some reason. I just think everyone's going to get fed, but
I think everyone's going to get
what
fed.
Number range is going to be interesting.
But they're going to have to put up more points. Their defense is not as good as it was last year. They've lost guys. They've lost pieces in the secondary. I mean, they lost to Davian Clowney. I don't know if that's
right.
more probably addition by subtraction.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really fit. I mean, they've got guys on the defense. Don't get me wrong, but I think their defense is not as good. I mean, they lost Malcolm Butler. I think they lost Dory Jackson. I mean, they're thin. They're thin.
Yeah, there's turnover.
Like, you're bouncing your camera like crazy right now, brother.
I'm so sorry, gang. I was typing.
I'm just like, my head's going like this because I'm trying to like follow you. Like,
yeah, sorry. I was just pulling up their depth chart. But yeah, no, it's Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons, Nico Autry, Bud Dupree. They're all up front, which is solid.
Dupree is a good one. I like Dupree. I like Dupree there more than I like Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, for sure. And
I did like seeing that Simmons got his credit on the NFL Top 100. That was pretty dope.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Cool. I was like, damn, that was quick because he was hurt and then played a half a season his rookie year, looked dominant, and then 1 year as a starter, and they already got him inside the top 100. So, just want to say, called that shit. Said how good he was gonna be.
He's a bad dude.
Said if he was healthy, he would have been taking over Quinnen Williams. That is the truth.
Yeah, I saw Quinnen Williams just came back too. So everyone's getting resurgence. They're gonna need him to do something because they lost Lawson. They lost their other pass rusher. Was it the pass rusher? They lost somebody else.
Oh yeah, I know, man. How you gonna have CJ? Was it CJ Mosley last year? Carl Lawson this year. Like they have what?
Can't have nice things.
They cannot. Like, what was it? The year before, Jamal Adams got hurt right before the season. Like, there's been poor Jets fans, man. Poor Jets fans.
Yeah, they'll be alright.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you get for being a Jets fan.
So what else we got?
See, I mean, I know we've briefly touched upon it. We jumped in. We've talked a lot about the running back. I mean, we definitely can, like, next week if you want to do a mock draft, you want to go like deep dive into the fantasy rankings.
Yeah, we can get into it, son.
Whenever, but in terms of let's go. I'll jump on your fantasy rankings. You have Hill 1 in terms of wide receivers, at least positional rankings. You got Hill, Adams, Diggs, Hopkins, Ridley, Allen, Jefferson, Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, Robertson, Terry McLaurin, Julio, Woods, Cup, Cooper, Johnson, Evans, and Moore. I think, is that your round out your 20? Yeah, that rounds out. Oh, your 20, and then Lockett, I think, for your 20. Yep. So
good Lockett guy.
I do like Lockett, especially where he's being drafted. I really like Lockett because who's to say that he isn't, like, it's a coin flip who's going to be the number one receiver in that offense. Like, Lockett's still the third down target. Huh?
But everybody telling you it's DK, so that
But
means that the defenses are going to have to prioritizing that it's going to be DK.
who's the better route runner? Who's going to be the guy? Who's the guy with the more reliable hands? Who's the guy that they're going to be looking for on third down? Or Russell Wilson's going to be looking for on third down? 3rd and 20?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's DK. But 3rd and 5, it's Lockett all day. So
I had a whole write-up on him, which I just lost. In this
all right. So I had a few things to go over that I've had some issues with, or I've had I don't know why everybody's so high on Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's good.
Targets.
Okay, but he's better than Keenan Allen? Has Calvin Ridley been better than Justin Jefferson? I understand Justin Jefferson's gonna has a target share, but Calvin Ridley is gonna have a target share. Calvin Ridley had Julio Jones on the field not performing. He had Julio Jones off the field hurt, and still wasn't some stud ass wide receiver. So there's no effing way I'm taking him over Keenan Allen. There's no way I'm taking him over. I mean, a lot of guys. I'm sorry, I have Adam Thielen still as the number 1 wide receiver over there in Minnesota.
Over Jefferson?
Because he's going to be he's the number 1 target. I mean, he's got more targets. He's going to be. It's Kirk Cousins. He still loves some Adam Thielen. He liked Adam Thielen over Stephon Diggs, and now look where you have Stephon Diggs, way higher in the rankings. And remember how we used to have those rankings? Thielen was always above Stephon Diggs. So I still think Kirk Cousins still is that much in love with Thielen, but Justin Jefferson is just going to be like Stephon Diggs from years prior, at just as good or very similar to Thielen. I think Thielen's going to have more catches, more yards, but I think Justin Jefferson could end up having more touchdowns. But Thielen, for being a tiny little white boy of a wide receiver, actually does get a lot of red zone targets.
You feel good about saying he plays over 12.5 games? If the over-under was 12.5 games for Adam Thielen, you'd go over?
For who?
Adam Thielen.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Does he have
I think he's running into that age. I think he's getting old, and it's just not clicking for him like it used to.
Bro,
and
Thielen ain't that old.
That's why I mean, in receiver years.
He's 31. But he's 31. I didn't think he was that old.
Right.
God damn.
He's already dealing with the thigh. He's dealing with a thigh bruise.
2013. 7 years. 7 years in the league. I get it. I guess he was a late bloomer too.
I just Googled Thielen injury, and there was an update a day ago. This dude, he's just banged up, and he's a great football player.
I will turn my cell phone off. That's what I'm gonna do for starters. But
yeah, your shoulder injury already too. Yeah.
I could backtrack a little. I'm still gonna say Thielen's enough. I'm still probably taking Thielen. I'm probably not taking Justin Jefferson because I see how high he's going, and there's some guys there Keenan Allen that I'm like, dude, you guys are just people disrespect Keenan Allen every freaking year. It drives me crazy. Even though I was one of those people that might have disrespected him a little bit last year, dealing with the fact that he had a rookie quarterback that I didn't have a whole lot of faith in, and look at me now. Definitely eating some crow on that one.
Real quick, since I found it on the Tyler Lockett, just a little splurge. A fun fact, he was number 76 on the NFL players list this year. He's currently in the middle of his prime. He's turning 29 week 1. Last year was 100. He had 100 catches on 132 targets, which was, I think it's about 70% catch rate. That's career high in 10 touchdowns. He hasn't missed a game in his entire career in 6 seasons. And he had 57 first downs last year, which was also a career high. So you're looking at a player who's literally in his prime, playing with a wide receiver or playing with a quarterback who he's played with his whole career. And now you're dealing with an offense that wants to improve. And by the way, they have a guy on the other side who the defenses are going to start prioritizing more. So I say all that to say I'm targeting Tyler Lockett in every draft I'm in. And I'll pick him over the likes of, who do I have him here? Yeah, Thielen, Chase, Ayuk, Judy. Yeah, give me all that smoke. I want him.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're looking where especially even on our rankings. Godwin, that one's
DJ Moore. I'd take him over him.
I think I'd take him over Chris Godwin. I'd take him over Julio Jones. Mike Evans gonna be a tricky one. I don't know, man. Like, you're so right on this what the scouting matrix had said. With AB really pulling in the target share. That one, again, I stayed away from those picks last year because I didn't know. There's too many mouths to feed, too much to go around, too potent of an offense to where there's not going to be a single favorite. I think there's going to be a different favorite or a different flavor per week depending on the matchups. Like, how Brady is. He's always looking at that mismatch. But AB being the third wide receiver provides such a mismatch. It's not even funny. Especially because he's not even
know
playing.
If he's the third wide receiver.
He's not the third. It's not like he's playing in the slot either. Like, we found out, like, he wasn't lining up in the slot almost at all. So, like, you have Godwin running out of the slot, getting the first downs. You have Mike Evans, not necessarily taking the top off, but being that deep threat, the big-bodied guy. And then you have AB, and they're just going to design a ton of routes and a ton of plays to just get AB open like they did in the Super Bowl, like they did from, week 14 on. Like, he was their number one wide receiver. Like, you found that stat in the scouting matrix. It is a great stat. It's a great tool.
Which will be unveiled at a later date.
Yep.
But yeah, Antonio Brown, he's getting drafted like round 10, round 9, 10, 11 range. And you got Godwin and Evans going in the top 4 to 5 rounds. Just from a pricing standpoint, I'm fading Evans, I'm fading Godwin, and I'm eating up every bit of Antonio Brown that I can get my hands on. And I think he's going to crush it. I think Brady has made a point of getting Antonio Brown whenever Antonio Brown was available, which just shows me that he really likes throwing the ball to Antonio Brown. And he's done it every time he's gotten a chance. So follow that and profit. And I have him as my wide receiver 3 in one league, and I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm excited. That was one that in my mock drafts I've been like, how is he this low? And another one is Juju. Juju, like, had such a down year last year, like, that nobody is, like, even planning on somewhat of a resurgence. Like, where he's being drafted, like, where he's being drafted is what he did last year. You have to expect there has to be somewhat of a bounce back. And I'm not the biggest Juju fan. I don't think his head is always in the game. Obviously, when you're TikToking at halftime or before the game, like, I'm not going to be a fan of you. Like, that's diva shit.
But the value's there at his current cost. I could see that. I could definitely see that. But at the end of the day, is he going to have a better season than Claypool or Deontay? And if he is, how much are you really expecting from Big Ben this year?
All right, well then, do you see where? How do we have Michael? How does Michael Thomas that far? All right, Michael Thomas is getting freaking drafted way too low too.
Injuries, and he might get traded. He's probably getting traded.
He probably is getting traded. But, like, again, I'll take a flyer pick on that one. Chase Claypool's we got all the way down at 37. Debo's at 39. And then Antonio Brown's at 41. Bro, I'm taking running backs, like, so early. I'm taking all running backs, and then I'll hit on these flyer guys late because
they out you.
Yeah, I mean, unless Tyreek Hill, I think Tyreek Hill is probably going to be the only one inside the top 10 that I'd probably pull the trigger on, or in that top 10-ish range where I'm taking a wide receiver.
Good call. He's a great receiver.
And then I think everybody else,
the highest floor and ceiling.
You look at, in terms of bang for your buck, like, the most efficient drafting strategy you can do is take flyers on all of these wide receivers late, because once you look at the back end of the running backs, and it gets thin quick. Like, outside of the first top 2 rounds, like, then everything else is a flyer pick. I mean, I think once you get past, like,
25.
Yeah.
Right past RB2.
Yeah, like, exactly. Once you're past RB2, and maybe even not that, like, I mean, you're looking at, like, we have Chris Carson as our, what is it? Let's see. We have Chris Carson as everybody's, we got Josh Jacobs at 20. Chris Carson's at 17. Josh Jacobs is at 20. I got Josh Jacobs higher than JK. I got him higher than Myles Gaskins. Really? I don't know why they have him that high. But yeah, I think anything past, like, Josh Jacobs, I'm uncomfortable. Miles Sanders, you don't know what you're getting. Kareem Hunt's a work share. Mike Davis, like, I don't even understand how he's a starting running back right now. Like, I mean,
you just named two of my guys I don't want any part of, and that's Mike Davis and Josh Jacobs. And Mike Davis is pretty simply just because he's a career backup. It took him quite a bit for him to even see success, and it was last year in a Christian McCaffrey offense where he was just force-fed targets, and then he kind of slumped off towards the end of the year, which shows me that he got fatigued with the full workload, which he's probably going to receive in Atlanta, and I just don't see it working. I think they're trying to make him Michael Turner 2.0, and not seeing it. But yeah, Josh Jacobs, 17-game season. The dude likes to run through people. He's already starting to get a little injuries here and there, a little durability concerns on my end, and they brought in Kenyon Drake to do a lot of the pass catching aspects of things, and I think he gets some steals. He steals some touches as well. So that's why I'm low on him. But I know he's your boy, especially over Dobbins. I'm a big Dobbins guy this year. Dude had 6 yards per carry last year.
Yeah. I mean, it looked good. It's just like that whole. I don't know. I would. That the Ravens have to get back to the run game, like
if they want to be successful. They just brought in an entire wide receiver core. So like now they have to feed them. But they can't stay healthy, so
nobody can stay healthy apparently. So who knows? What are some late round running backs that you're high on, or some guys that I wouldn't know about full on sleepers, but semi sleepers. One thing I will add: if you do go get Josh Jacobs, you better go get Kenyon Drake because that is probably one of the best 1-2 handcuff duos. Because I even think Kenyon Drake could actually have fantasy relevancy even as a 1-2. Because of Gruden, his big thing has been we haven't had that third down back. We haven't had that receiving threat. And we can't have Josh Jacobs do everything or else we will not have Josh Jacobs come potential playoff time. Like, that's literally like almost quote word for word what he said earlier this offseason.
Completely agree.
That would I say. Yeah. But in terms of like the late round guys, like I see Raheem Mostert is the same thing. Like getting like no love, no credit again this year. I know it's again going to be a crowded backfield, but I think he's earned the right to be the number one guy there until he gets hurt.
And if you have Mostert and he's healthy, you start him. Yeah. Because he's just capable of exploding for a crazy amount of points that nobody else in this territory really can. I mean, we'll see what Travis Etienne will bring to the table. But like other than him, the only one I'm like really seeing is like Fournette. I think Fournette's in for a big year. So I'm fading Ronald Jones pretty heavily, just specifically due to what the scouting matrix is telling us, and that post-bye week. I have the stats actually right. Yeah.
Give it to him.
Ronald Jones was absolutely out-touched. He only had 69 touches and targets post-bye week, as opposed to Fournette's 129. And just with the amount of overall mounts that Tom Brady's going to have to feed in this offense, which admittedly is probably the greatest collection of receiving talents the NFL has ever seen. There just isn't enough room for Ronald Jones to really be productive, or at least to the point of drafting him in the mid to late rounds. I'd just rather hitch my boat to Fournette and see what happens. And based on how he was in the playoffs, they seem to like running the offense through him. So.
I got the scouting matrix pulled up right now. Hopefully it doesn't crash our live stream because it's a lot of data. But all right, so pre bye week, Ronald Jones doubled the touches and targets, doubled the production, doubled the touchdowns, everything double. Post bye week completely flipped. Like you said, 69 to 124 touches and targets from Fournette to Jones, and you've got 606 yards compared to 301. You have 7 touchdowns compared to 2, and you have a 20% usage rating compared to a 14.5% usage rating. So again, almost double. He's literally doubled him in almost every category. And then when you go from 14 to 21, I guess it's a little closer than we're giving credit for. So Chris Godwin's usage was 11.5%. And then Mike Evans was 9.85 and Antonio Brown's was 9.22. But he did lead them in touchdowns. And then they're all very, very similar in terms of yards, between 400 and 500. But yeah, Antonio Brown's like basically usage massively went up after that bye week, and he was, from a touchdown and production standpoint, right on par. He had 3 less targets than Evans, or targets or touches, and then he had 11 less than Godwin. But basically, he went way up there.
A lot of screens as well.
Yeah, that was his big thing. He was the number one among screens. I think he was number one in, quite a few of them. But yeah, he was number one targeted in screens. Targeted a bunch near the red zone. Let's see. Let's click on. Yeah, so 31.71%
a lot of screens
of
to
his
the right.
of his touches came on screens. 12% came on the 9 route. 7% on the comeback and drag. So again, a lot of it is that intermediate stuff where you can just kind of pick apart the defense with his quick footwork. God, I just get so excited talking about this. I wish I could give this to you guys just yet. Rob, if you want a little sneak peek, brother, hit me up. But yeah, so all kinds of beautiful information. But then what was the other one? What was the other stat? Oh yeah, just him. Antonio Brown and Tom Brady, just on all routes, completed at 73.24%. So like, Brady just trusts him more than any other wide receiver. I think even more so than a Rob Gronkowski, just because, Rob Gronkowski 59%. So yeah, Antonio Brown has the highest completion percentage. Oh, barely edged Chris Godwin, but yes, the highest completion percentage amongst all wide receivers and pass catchers targeted by Tom Brady. So, again, beautiful signature stats you will only find here at Blitzalytics, brought to you by the Scouting Matrix, which...
All right, I'll put that away.
Yeah. It'll be out soon. We'll just put it that way. That's basically all I got, man. I can't think of really anything else we haven't really covered. Again, we can just keep talking fantasy and talking football all goddamn day, but
here for it.
I like Devontae Smith back there. I like taking that flyer on Michael Thomas. I love me some Deebo Samuels, and some Antonio Brown. Like those guys right there and the back end of the draft, from 35 to 45 in terms of wide receiver rankings. Those are guys you have to target. And I think T.Y. is going to have a rebound year. Carson Wentz, like, how could he not, right?
Do you think...
I'm trying to will it into existence. I've always liked me some T.Y. in fantasy.
I wanted to be big on T.Y. this year. I just can't get myself to think that any of the quarterbacks on this roster are going to be better than what Phillip Rivers was last year, and that is not good.
Yeah.
And so that concerns me. And that's why I'm not big on Michael Pittman either, where a lot of people are.
Yeah.
I think they just focus on a running offense, as they should. That's where all their talent is.
Yeah. Go draft you some Jonathan Taylor this year. Like I said last year. What I said last year will come into fruition this year. I said he was going to lead the league in rushing yards, and then I said Clyde Edwards-Helaire would lead the league in yards from scrimmage. Boy, was I slightly off. I think Taylor was third. Taylor was third, so
you're just a year early.
A little early. I always have high aspirations for rookies, but this year I'm not going to draft every rookie running back. I promise. Wink, wink. Or am I?
We'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys tuning in to the Blitz Breakdown, presented by Blitzalytics.com and sponsored by Key City Brewing. Drink, Rebel, Repeat. I know. I'm going. I know. I'm going.
Okay.
I will hit the post office tomorrow.
Just checking.
I know. I suck. I've been busy. I was in New Orleans. Leave me alone.
All good.
All right. Blitz out.
Peace.